Okay, since it's 6:30, I'd like to go ahead and call the select board meeting to order for the September 17th, 2024 meeting. We will start with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I move we open the meeting.
Second.
Okay. And the first thing on our agenda tonight is our public hearing. So I move that we open the public hearing. Can I have a second for that?
Second.
And all in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Barbara? Yes. Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, and we have one absent at the moment. So, this is a, legal notice of public hearing, Town of Belgrade, 6:30, Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. The Belgrade Board of Selectmen will be holding a public hearing pursuant to MRSA 30A, subchapter 1, subsection 3753. The purpose of the hearing is for public comment and to consider the renewal applications submitted by Francis Frappier Jr. and Raymond Frappier. Lorna, is it you and Hans?
Yeah, he's not on unless you want him. I told him I thought, because he gave his
Okay.
information on your memo.
Okay,
So we have two permits for renewal. Our code enforcement officer, Hans Rasmussen, has visited both properties and provides the following. So for Raymond, this past year, Ray completed the cleanup that was required when he inadvertently dumped construction waste within the shoreline zone. The construction waste consisted of dry building materials. There were no liquid or leachable materials present. Ray also brought a construction waste site outside of shoreline zone into compliance. There were no notice of violation letters issued to Ray this year. His automobile graveyard has been kept orderly and in compliance. The recommendation is to renew his application. And for Francis, there were no notice of violation letters issued to Francis this year. His automobile graveyard has been kept orderly and in compliance, and the recommendation is to renew his application as well.
okay. So let's take these one at a time. First, the renewal application for Raymond Frappier. Does anyone have any comments or questions or wish to speak to that? Lois,
You want me to stand?
stand and identify yourself, please.
Okay. Lloyd Hazelwood, I'm a budding property owner. And I usually come to the hearing because I want to know if there are any major changes. And it sounds like the code enforcement officer has been working with Ray, and he had told me that he had been. And because there were some things that needed to be done. And so there's no, I just mainly was concerned about it being enlarged and growing and exponentially.
Mhm.
So I just usually come every year to make sure that there are no major changes.
Okay,
Being the adjacent property.
okay, thank you, Lois.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Ray, any concern that we should have that you're looking to expand?
No,
No?
no, I'm very proud, no.
No,
Actually downsizing, trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Me and my board decided that we're gonna get rid of all the stuff that we don't need. We're only gonna keep our big trucks, our equipment, and a bunch of little odds and ends and stuff that we use to repair our trucks.
Mhm.
Other than that, 99% of it's gonna be gone.
Okay, all right.
Tired of this program.
Was that?
Are
No.
you tired of this program?
Yeah, no, I'm not tired of this. I don't want to ever get rid of my license because I'm always gonna have unregistered vehicles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
More than three. Like I've got two big dump trucks down there that I use for parking pieces on my truck. So there's two, and then I got a Peterbilt that I want to restore someday. So there's three. And then I've got a bunch of little trucks that we're gonna get rid of eventually.
Do you know how often we hear that I want to restore someday?
I'd like to.
You need time.
Time, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
But other than that, no. There's
No, okay.
thank you. No.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any comments, questions?
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate that, the CEO worked with Ray and had constant collaboration, it sounds like, so I appreciate that. So thank you for doing that and working together.
No, I didn't know I was in violation because when Gary was here, Gary would just say, yeah, you're all set, you're all set. Well, had I known what I did, it would have never happened, you know?
Mhm.
So we just took the initiative and just cleaned it up and did what we had to do. So,
Thank you.
And you know, I think that's what we as a town want to do if we find those situations, is work with people to
right.
try to correct them.
And Hans knows that I got one more section down there that's not in violation. It's way away from the water and everything, but it's still building debris. It's probably 50 by 50 area. And I gotta bring that back away, back up and bury it up on top. Because
Mhm.
that's what, I think her name was Vicky from DEP.
Okay,
They allowed me to have a spot to put that up on top of my property. And dig in my pit to bury it up there.
okay,
So that's what we've been working on.
okay, good,
Other than that, I have no problems.
okay. Anyone else? I move we approve the renewal for Ray Frappier.
Second,
All in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so that's 5 yes in the renewal, thank you.
Thank you.
And the next one is Francis Frappier. Any discussion, questions, concerns that we have for Francis?
Francis, do you have any desire to expand?
He's not here.
Oh, that's your point, okay,
Yes.
all right,
I make a recommendation that we table Francis Frappier's junkyard permit to the next meeting, because
because he's not present.
I think he was going to call in, but I don't see him on the Zoom.
Okay. Do we have a second to the tabling of that motion?
I will second that.
Okay,
But I have a question. Is there a requirement that if the applicant be here?
our public hearing, the applicants are here.
So I don't know if it's a requirement, but it is best, I think it's considered
It's
best
been the-
practice.
okay,
Exactly.
okay, all in favor of the motion to table Francis's application until our next meeting? Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so if Lorna, you would notify him that we need to have him either in person or Zoom in for that meeting. That would be great, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Have a good night.
Okay. So I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Yes.
Dan,
I don't know.
Barbara,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so that's 5 yeses to close the public hearing. Okay, which takes us back to our select board meeting. And the first order of business of that is public comment. So it's the time during the meeting, if someone has a public comment they want to make that's not on our agenda, something they'd like to bring to our attention. This would be the opportunity to do it. As a general rule, we do not act on it that night, but we move it forward for action at another time. So is there anyone who wants to make a public comment? Yes.
Brooke Cummings, I was awarded the contract for snow plowing this winter for you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I finally got the titles to my trucks and I was able to get them registered today.
All right,
in all the paperwork that I got, you requested registrations, list of equipment, insurance, liability proof, and insurance to the town itself.
mhm,
I've got that now. I tried to catch one today, but I was late the time I got here and got my excise
Okay.
paid in Sydney and got here to register the truck. I missed it. But I've got my paperwork.
oh, I
I
think,
don't know
yeah,
what to do with it, or who to give it to.
Do you want, if you come in first thing Thursday morning, I can just make copies and then you can have
You
everything
can have
back.
this. I've already got
Are
my
you sure?
copies.
oh, okay,
My wife photocopied everything for me.
okay,
Way to go.
And you can have this.
okay,
I don't know if this is the right time or place to do this or not, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't-
that's fine, that's fine.
Will work.
We'll take it and then, if there's, any questions or anything from there,
No, that's okay. The
um,
only other thing I had was in our contract, there was the calibrations of the sanders on the
Okay.
trucks. It was in the paperwork.
okay,
I haven't done that yet. The trucks I purchased was the same trucks that was used on the roads last winter.
I was just gonna
Okay.
ask you.
I did. I bought their 6 trucks that they had.
bought from Warren Brothers,
Yeah,
That,
me and my boys and my other 2 employees, we rode with them 5 or 6 times last winter.
right, I knew you did,
To try to do it, but I haven't had them calibrated yet because I didn't really wanna mess with them,
right,
because we don't know all that much about the electronic ones.
mhm,
They worked last winter, if everybody was satisfied with them, I would leave them alone, I wouldn't change them. Because when we used them the way they had them set up.
right,
So I didn't know if you still wanted me to have them calibrated or not.
I would, I don't know anything on
I'm
that,
okay with the fact if they were calibrated by the Warner Brothers, that you continue what they did, because in years prior, when they were miscalibrated, we had rocks coming through the sander. And we had so many complaints.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's probably 10 years in the past, but I think.
from what I know, the calibration is on the spread, it's not on what goes through it.
So that.
What I talked with already, I talked to the gentleman that does the state setups. And he said if they work, leave them alone, don't touch them. So I wanted to check with you first, because that was one of the requirements that was in the
Did
proposal
you
on the
get the-
bids
okay,
to do it, and I just wanna check with you first.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, that's what I thought, I was hoping you'd say that, because we used them the way they were, that's all, I didn't wanna change them, if we didn't have to.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm psyched for you guys to come on.
I think I got everything that you asked for in
Okay.
the paperwork that's there, I think.
I'll check through
yeah,
it.
we'll
Okay.
look at it and then be back in touch with you,
Okay.
okay?
Other than that, that's all I needed.
So you're praying for snow.
I was just.
I'm anxious to try it, but I don't wanna look 4 or 5 times a week. I don't mind once a week or twice a week, as long as it don't snow 6 times a week, I'm all right.
According to the Lily Caterpillars, we're gonna get nails on the other end, so.
No, other than that, I'm all set.
All right, okay, thank you very much and,
Thank you.
and welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll know
Good
your face next time we see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thank
I
you.
know.
Thanks, have a good day.
Okay, next order of business is to review and approve the minutes of the meeting of September 3rd. So, I move go ahead.
I make a motion, we open that item.
Okay. All right, so I move we approve the minutes. Any discussion?
second,
I actually had a question.
Okay,
So on page 3 of 5, is Corey? See on anywhere? So the Quaker Cemetery gate. I was not under the understanding that we were replacing the yellow chains that were there. I was under the understanding that we were adding the entryway like we have on Pine View. However, the reason that we went with the bright yellow chains is because that is directly across from an intersection. And it was to call attention to that in times when visibility might be limited. So I didn't realize that we were looking to replace the yellow chain. And I understand at this point it's kind of the plastic chain, but that was why those chains went up, was to increase the visibility. Because we
Okay.
don't want anyone to go through that intersection into the cemetery.
Yeah, we did talk about this last week, maybe you came in late. The
Well,
last meeting.
and I was kind of came in on the tail end of this, because I came in on the widening, and then this was right after the widening.
I don't think you're replacing all the chain. I think you're just replacing sections of the gate.
Well, and that's why, but in our notes, it says request to replace
Look to
the old
replace.
plastic chain.
Yeah.
Across the entrance, so just
the
the
entrance.
actual entrance and not the whole thing, because I just want to make sure that we don't decrease
Just the
visibility
entrance.
Right,
when we make
Yeah.
it look nicer.
Yes,
So
okay,
we
so we would
can-
need to amend the minutes to reflect that,
Yeah,
if we're all in agreement that that's. Okay, any other amendments to the minutes?
But how would it be amended?
It's already,
Because
it's already says
it
across.
already says currently across the entrance.
Oh, I'm sorry, currently across the entrance.
So I
I'm
think that's
sorry.
just,
so
It's
just
the
that
entrance,
little
okay.
section.
They're,
So
they're
the
building a
rest of it-
gate entrance to match the other one.
Right.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure that we were not gonna replace these and have
The rest
just an
of them.
entrance, and the rest of those are gone.
I don't think it's
Okay.
gonna be wide open.
Yeah, okay, so, we don't need to amend the minutes. Any other additions or corrections?
it looks fine to me.
Okay,
I didn't see any.
all right, all in favor? Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Dan,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so that's 5 yeses. The minutes are approved. Um. Lorna,
yes,
we have bingo applications, are folks,
I don't,
signing in or coming?
I don't see anybody.
Okay, we'll just
Yeah.
keep going here then, okay. We did have a request earlier today because of other meetings and getting, kids to bed and so on, that maybe we could move that up in the conversation, but if we don't have people here, we'll just, keep moving along with unfinished business, so I move we open unfinished business.
Second.
Okay, and the first, order of business is the property tax assistant ordinance review. Lorna, would you take us through?
So I Googled and found several municipalities who have a tax assistance ordinance, and there seems to be two versions. One is tied to the town office gathering financial information, and doing percentages based on the median household income for the town of Belgrade, and then if you're 300% of that, you know, several different levels, then you qualify for a certain amount of a rebate.
Mhm.
And then there were, those towns that have the credit or rebate, I should say, tied to application and receipt of the property tax fairness credit, which is a program, hosted by the state of Maine to help, property tax owners. So I sent this over, I pulled it from the town of Poland, they've had good luck with it, and I sent it over to Phil for his review. And you've been able to read his thoughts on it, meets all of the, requirements of the Maine statute, so that was good. And I asked him about keeping the work program that we currently have in place, I think he put it in place 2010. It is a bit out of date. It does mention the circuit breaker program, which is no longer in place. And the language could certainly be cleaned up. By Maine statute, you could actually run both programs. And Phil's recommendation, if he wanted to do that, would be to incorporate the two into one comprehensive ordinance. And that way it also gives you the opportunity to update the language of the work program. So I also like the sample ordinance too, because to me it helps the most needy residents who can't pay or have trouble paying their property tax because they've already applied to the state for help. and received that, and then they come to the
Then they come to-
municipality for help. So they're actually getting help from two different resources versus just the
Who's
municipality.
coming from? Okay. Um. My brain just went dead, sorry. So we would. And this, we're really just sort of in discussion at this point. Um. If we decided we wanted to take Phil's recommendation and do them as one ordinance. We would need to repeal the old one and replace it with a combined one, am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay, so that would, just to clean up the fact that we have an ordinance that's outdated and has the first programs that don't exist. So,
And I have reached out to the state for a second time for information on how many folks in town currently or have received the last go around of the property tax credit at the state level, but they have not provided me anything yet. So that would help us if you move forward with budgeting to know how many folks may qualify under this ordinance. If you move forward and then pass at town meeting.
at least give us a base level, because there are
So I'll
probably people who may not be aware of that
Yeah.
assistance. Do you know, are you familiar with any of it, Dan, through the legislature?
But I'll continue to badger them for information.
Yeah, more
Is there
information.
any way that your assistant could get us the information that we need about property tax fairness? Program?
Probably if I want to write something up, I can drop it off. to 'em.
And I have a contact in the department I could forward to you, if that would be helpful,
Yeah,
if you
fine, too.
reached out to them.
Yeah.
Okay,
When you say department, is that MRS you say?
I'm not sure who the gentleman is, Stephen. Somebody, I could probably.
Was it Main Revenue Services? I'm just curious.
Wouldn't that probably be who administers?
That was what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're going down the right path.
The right rabbit hole.
Stephen Sullivan is the name.
Does his email address have a tagline at the end?
It doesn't, it's just the main.gov. But let me see if I can pull something up.
Well, we can look at that,
Worry about that later.
make sure that we're in the right. That we're in the right
Property
place.
tax division.
Yep.
Main
Property
revenue.
tax,
Yep.
MRS,
okay,
yeah.
MRS,
Yep.
okay.
Principal property appraiser, Stephen Sullivan.
Okay. So, any comments or ideas or thoughts, or think we're heading in the right direction, or?
I know Anthony had some comments and I wasn't sure if we maybe would have them printed out and I unfortunately forgot my phone, so I can't pull mine up.
Yeah, Anthony's listening if he wants. to.
Yep. You wanted to speak?
Yeah.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only 2 points that I raised in my email, Lorna's already covered it. I think it's a good idea to find out from the state how many Belgrade residents have accessed the property tax credit fairness program, because that'll give you an idea of sort of the scope of what this should be, and maybe some idea of how much money would have to be set aside. As I mentioned in the email, I think you need to be aware that, you know, what you, in adopting this, and perhaps this is something the community supports at town meeting, but you are shifting the tax burden to other taxpayers. And at the same time, this is going to fall solely on the town, because I doubt that you're going to see any decrease in the appropriation to the schools in the county as a result of that.
Right.
The other thing that I mentioned was that, and I do think it's a good idea to wrap both of your programs into one ordinance. And there are just a couple of holes in that ordinance from 2010, and one of them is that it doesn't specify at what rate the senior volunteers would be compensated or credited toward their tax bill. I would assume that you would want to adopt something that mirrors whatever the minimum wage is at the time, but it seems that ought to be spelled out in the ordinance.
Mhm.
And so Anthony, I was part of that when we did that, and I believe minimum wage at the time was $7.50. So we anticipated 10 hours of work for the town was equivalent to $750.
I figured that was probably the case, you know, but
Makes
now, of
sense.
course, the minimum wage is twice that. So, you know,
Right.
You may want to also adjust how much is the maximum that someone could qualify for as a tax credit as well.
So it looks like in here that it says $1,000 or 100 times the.
Right, the minimum wage.
Which at this point, I think is at $12.75. So that would be.
Minimum wage is 14 something, isn't
something.
it? Yeah, and
14,
it's,
15 now.
it's going up a little bit.
Well, I'm not paying attention to that.
Yeah, and of
So-
course, if you adopted an ordinance, you could just state whatever, you could just make the rate at the minimum wage, which is going to change
Right,
over the
right.
year. And specify a certain number of hours that someone could volunteer. The other point I raised is you probably want to limit the town's liability by saying, there are certain activities at which you would not obviously want someone volunteering just because of the liability that it would raise for the town.
Right, right.
And spelling that out would be wise for us.
Any other comments? Anyone else have any input?
So what's our next step on this?
I think for me, the next step is we need to get some data to find out how much we're looking at, so we can figure out how much we need to look at for budgeting, because that will be one of the things that we look, when we get into budget committee, if this passed, how would this affect us? And then, at the moment, I believe that program is limited to a total of $1,500. Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
So if that's now basically one person getting 10 hours, then, we need to look at how much on that volunteer program. Do we want to make that a broader one? How much do we want to do? I mean, I think that takes, in my head, a little thinking about and noodling around to see. And to see an impact. I think using the same criteria as the state uses in their tax credit takes a lot of the work out and the figuring and the compilation of data here for the town office. Because there's already a program that says, this is how you do it, and when I look, I'm like, oh, I wonder how that works, and Lauren has given us some, it's pretty straightforward when you run through the numbers, so I think that is easier to not have people working, trying to qualify for two different systems that we piggyback one off the other. To me, that makes sense.
We need to make sure we get the budget committee involved sooner than later, well.
Right, absolutely, yeah, and we've had those meetings we're figuring out here. Yeah. Any other discussion? We
I
want,
guess I'm just trying to figure out the timing, so if this is an ordinance that would need to be voted on at town meeting, would that be the first time that?
right, yeah, I mean, we'd have to have it done basically by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if
Right.
it goes a warrant article, we gotta get it through budget committee, which will be meeting in October.
Right.
So hope maybe by next meeting, see if we can get the tax credit information. And see how that would impact us. Because we'll have to do some modeling on that, however we do it.
Mhm.
And we'll be in those meetings right away.
Right. And now this came about because of this is citizen petition.
The citizen petition.
And do we
yeah.
have any input from the citizens?
I
of the
don't know if
petition
there's anyone that.
That they.
Oh.
Thanks for doing this, really appreciate it. I thought the ordinance was similar for you all, what you wrote, and reasonable, so I just appreciate that you responded to all the people who signed the petition.
Well, and that's what, that really is our responsibility, is to make sure we respond and do it as best we can to affect the people that need it, so thank you for bringing it to our attention. I mean, nothing wrong there. Okay, so why don't we just had a discussion on it, ask Lorna to see if we can get information and bring it back under unfinished business, next meeting.
Yes,
Okay, is that agreed?
Yep.
Okay,
good plan.
okay, so, the next item of business, yeah, if there are no objections, I would ask that we move the bingo application ahead, take it out of the business since we have a mom with meetings and kids to put to bed.
Just
Good night.
remember, so don't look at my feet, whatever you do. I'm trying to like dress appropriately, but the fuck is going on right now, and Adam and I traded places, so I can run and get here.
So
Thank you.
if there are no objections, I move that we open the application for bingo PTA Belgrade School Review. Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Good to
Okay.
go.
All right. Okay, so let's pull that one forward.
Stephanie, you also on the Rotary?
I'm not, I'm PTO president,
Okay.
but I'm not on the Rotary, I do that with Christine. The Rotary combines with us, which is amazing, to have both of those organizations together.
Mhm.
We've done it. I can't tell you how many years we've been doing it, I've only got this year and one more year to go, and then I've already said I'm stepping away. But yeah, it's a great, it brings, at least for us at PTO, it brings a lot of funds that we are able to give to the students and the teachers, which we pretty much, we give every teacher $250 with receipts.
Wow.
So they buy stuff for their classrooms and we're able to refund them for that money. It gives us money for, we just bought them a new coffee maker. I know that's not a big deal, but you have no idea how many teachers came up to me and thanked me for that
Yeah.
coffee maker. We do a lot of we do our book fair. I mean, but every penny we make goes back into that school, and that's what we're wanting to do.
Mhm. Okay, so I would move that we approve the bingo application for Belgrade Central PTO.
Second.
And second, any discussion? All in favor, Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so you are approved,
Thank you,
okay?
appreciate it.
Best
Now the work, now the real work starts.
Yeah.
That was the easy part, sorry.
Okay, and do we need Christine here
Do we
to,
have Christine and?
I know she's in a meeting.
yeah, she was gonna try to call
She
in,
was gonna
but,
try, but I know she's in a meeting and I told her I would find a way to get there, so one of us would at least be here, but I don't know that you're gonna see her.
Do you want to shoot her a text and then if she can pop in even later in the meeting, maybe we can table this application until later?
Do you need to talk to her?
We usually, if somebody has an application for Dino or somebody has anything that's something like this, we have to have a representative just in case.
From that board?
yeah,
Okay,
so she
And I
can,
think last year she just zoomed in, it was like a 5
Yeah.
phone call.
okay.
And even if it's 8:30, you know.
Does she have the ability to zoom in?
It does, it. We.
um,
How would give you the Zoom link? If I.
You have your phone?
give you that,
See, go to, yeah,
you go to the, webpage.
webpage,
Website,
copy,
yeah.
paste. That's the way to do it.
Oh,
Do not enter.
You can type
Too
that.
fraught with it.
Yeah.
Was that a zero?
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I know, I knew she
Right?
was gonna try to call in, so we'll just, at the moment, just leave that to the side and see where we go. Okay, so let's go back to, our next one, unfinished business, which is fire and rescue pickup truck.
There we go.
Mr. McKenzie.
Sorry, I didn't bring my paperwork. I left the call and didn't run back to the office. I think I got it pretty much in my head, but we applied for the May EMS grant. We got the $50,000 grant. Took a while, but we finally got the check 3-4 weeks ago. Before that, we had priced out trucks, Steel Connor, Central Maine.
Now I better do it. I know she's-
Heights. O'Connor's had a truck that matched what we were looking for, Heights did. When we finally got the money, went back to O'Connor's, the guy we were dealing with, that truck was gone, so. Our option was Heights has one in stock, it's a red Chevy 3/4 ton. It's a little more than 50,000, did you have the price, it was 50?
Yes, it was 54,585.
Yeah,
So the grant will cover 50, I'm just asking, we take the remainder out of our fire truck capital reserve to pay the difference. If we don't buy this one, then we'll have to order one.
mhm,
But how long, somebody probably knows how long it takes to get down, I have no idea.
3 months.
Yeah, so O'Connor's like, I don't know if you heard, but O'Connor's had one that matched, so did Heights. Back when we first heard we were getting the grant, but it took so long to get the money, time we called O'Connor's back, that truck was gone. Red's a little hard to find, not a lot of them, so Heights still had one, 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive crew cab. Not all the bells and whistles, but we didn't need that, they did send some pictures, but.
You know, the customs guy gets picked up on a truck with a couple extra features.
Yeah,
Just so you know too, if
Yeah.
you ever get in that position again, if you let us know, we write it. Put a deposit on it and just hold it.
yeah, we should have, I thought the money would come quicker.
Well, the guy that
We're
was
dealing with
working
state, so
he's
it
like,
took a
"Oh."
little bit, but. So yeah, we're gonna need a little bit out of the capital, we don't pay tax, so I don't know what's gonna be closing. fees or that.
6184 is.
So I don't know if we can say the remainder, we could get a capital reserve, I think it'd be right around the 4,000 or 5,000
Yeah.
range.
Okay.
And then the grant pays for the rest, which they've already got the check and deposited that.
Yeah, good. Okay, I move that we approve the purchase of the pickup truck from Hike Chevrolet.
Second.
Second, any more discussion?
I just have a question.
6,184 coming out of it.
Right, yeah.
You have to be clear with that motion.
Okay, so I just had a quick question.
Yes.
Because I have no objections about doing this at all. I'm just curious about when we spend the 6184 out of the reserve funds. I'm assuming that there's ample funds afterwards. Just want to know how we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a copy
600,000
of
in there.
Or is that the third page?
Yeah.
Upside down.
604, 794.
But we are spending it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Yeah, I was like, that's not just for this.
Our rescue truck is over 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
So that question, then one other just question, if you had a plan for this, does this, are you gonna do undercoating?
Yeah, we're probably gonna do, like all of the headache rack, on the back, we're trying to gear up. For the new station, so unless we have to, pick up, if we have to go to. Both rescue ambulance, our rescue sled won't fit into that.
Yeah.
So I could go into the back of that, we could use it to pick up hose and stuff, instead of using our personal vehicles at structure fires or any fire. We're always looking for a pickup to throw stuff in, we could have that. Backup rescue truck, when our rescue trucks, and we're using either personal vehicles or 6.3 or engine, because we have
Yeah.
nothing else.
Right.
So it's gonna be a multi-use. piece of
Sure.
equipment.
Yeah, I guess you, I was asking about the undercoating, because we asked that.
I was
with
just
the
gonna
facility.
say, so I wanna offer 2 suggestions. So it's a General Motors vehicle, don't undercoat it for a minimum of 2 years. Because on a General Motors truck, there's a thick black wax on the frame.
Yeah.
If you try to undercoat it too quick, they have to scrape it off the frame.
Yeah, 'cause we have ours done up at Bangor, and he cleaned all that off.
So Crenshaw's and Augusta does a fantastic job. They're
Yeah.
$1,000 for lifetime. But don't do it for at least 2 years till
Okay.
it starts flaking. But what I would recommend is cabin wax. Because if we're gonna hang on to our trucks in this town for a minimum of 10 years, what we want to do is cavity wax. And
What was that again?
it's called cavity wax. I don't know if Heights does it. I know we do it at O'Connor's.
And
It's
O'Connor's.
$465.11 for a new vehicle and it's a lifetime guarantee.
Was that coating or?
Nope, so what they do is they open up all the doors and anything with an open channel is
Oh.
filled with an expandable wax that then hardens and no rust is ever gonna go from front to back. They do the rocker panels, they do underneath the tailgate and the wheel wells.
I'll look into that.
So for $465.
We
it's a
can do that, I
no-brainer.
think, better out of our budget that.
And for municipality, there might be a little bit of a discount, but that's just the standard, and what they wanna do is they wanna hit it before it's been through a winter. Because if it's been through a winter, it goes
Oh,
into like.
can you give me that contact information?
Yeah, just call me.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up.
So that should be, the cavity wax should be done now.
The cavity
Yeah.
wax should be done
But the
before it
undercoating
goes
is
through
in
a
2
winter,
years.
but the
And the
undercoating
undercoating,
is for a couple of.
Yeah, we're gonna do
years.
the bed liner and stuff, that was in that.
That was.
The cavity wax is inside your door panels, inside your rocker
Yeah,
panels.
that makes sense.
With this space.
Because what it
You gotta
does
do
is it
anything you
fills the
can.
Space, because then rust, we all know rust starts again. officer here, so if you have something in between, it cannot go from one to the other.
Yeah.
Well, when we spec out the new rescue truck, we gotta really look and find something that will be good and made, because the one we have now. Invaded.
Well, and I would ask you, if you give me a shout, I'll check with the collision center and see what the cost would be to do cavity wax.
Yeah, it's too late now on that, but the new one, yes, yeah. We gotta spec out winter prep for. Oh, there's Christine.
Well, I think we're real close.
Yeah.
So I would, amend my recommendation that we purchase the rescue truck and we take the excess over the grant of $6,184 out of the reserve fund.
Sorry.
Okay. All in favor, Dan,
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so
Thank you.
you're ready to rock and roll.
It'll be at the next meeting, about the tower thing, for Peter, is that?
We've
That's
got
tonight.
it on.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Oh, all right.
So
Okay.
go to Christine.
All right, so yes, we'll go back out of order here for, hi Christine. So,
Hello,
hello, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm kind of in the middle of something, so.
Yeah, no, we just needed to have someone here from the organization. So at this point, I would move that we approve the bingo application for the Rotary Club. Yes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the bingo application?
No changes since the last 19 years, right, Christine?
Yeah,
Everything's the
actually
same?
20.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
just saying, we're both fine.
okay. Stephanie went ahead and reiterated for us all the good things that the money goes for, so we won't ask you to do that, so.
Oh, awesome.
Is there any more questions?
That goes to the Bedelia, I'm in fun.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay. All in favor, Dan,
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Okay, 5 yeses. You are good to go. Need to, I guess,
Thank-
you have, get to sign the application, Lorna, for them? They'll pick it up here or?
Yes, you have it in your sign folder. the
Oh,
gray
okay.
folder.
All right, okay. All right,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, back to your meeting. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, get rescue truck. Okay, so employee service recognition policy, finalize and approve.
If we're ready, we generally don't on the agenda, we don't have like, we have to finalize and approve, because I think it's generally consideration, and then we may have, if we have to bring anything back, we still do it.
Okay. So, Lorna, do you want to, do you have any comments on the,
This has
Program
just
here?
been updated draft from the original copy, that you looked at previously, August
Mhm.
20 meeting. And you had asked about how many full-time employees and years of service. So I've pulled that information and listed that for you. The updated draft has the changes that you asked for.
Okay. Any discussion on the policy itself? The way that it would work after the first year?
I guess I have a question, about full-time versus part-time. If we want to consider having part-time, recognizing part-time employees as well, because there are many people who have had longevity of service who are part-time, and should they be recognized in the same way? If we're, if we're doing this as a way of increasing morale, valuing showing employees that we care about them, would we want to expand it to include part-time?
So we have full-time, we have, is it permanent part-time?
Yes.
And then we have seasonal, that those are usually here for a year or two. I think, do,
Or summers, like the,
right,
yeah.
yes. I mean, I
Campaigns.
personally think permanent part-time, if that's the correct term, should be included, because we have a number of people who work for us for a very long time on a part-time basis, and they're gonna say, what am I, chicken liver? How come I've been here for 7 years and I'm not getting acknowledged, so. I mean, I think our seasonal ones that, if we have someone who comes back every season, then maybe we could look at that on an exception basis, but.
I think the permanent part-time.
Permanent
is a
part-time,
good-
I think.
Is a good way to
I don't know,
consider that.
any thoughts from,
I agree.
you agree, Peter?
I
Yeah.
totally agree,
Yeah.
it's one way to help recognize value.
Right,
That's important.
yeah. So, I like the policy, and then what I did take, Lorna's given us the list of how many employees, because we had. My understanding is we were talking about, we'll introduce it and give everyone whatever their appropriate award is. And then after that, as they go from 11 to the 15th year, they would get an award, and as they went to the 20th year, they get their award. So that would be, we would work it that way. So I looked at if we just took folks where they are now. And we did. Starting out this year, I would put some notice to say. In 2024, here are our award levels. Because in 10 years, those award levels may not look like anything.
As far as the dollar
The
amount.
dollar amount, this is the award levels for 2024, subject to select board, review.
Periodic, so.
Periodic review or something, so that we could change the dollar without having to change the policy.
Right.
But, so I looked and, I said, if we took. 7 people who are less than 5 years. 7 times $50 is $350. We have 2 employees that are between 10 and 14, so they qualify at the 10-year level. So that would be 2 times 200, which is 400. And we have 1 employee that's at the more than 20 years, so that would be 1 person at 400. That would cost us $1150. And then if we take our people that are less than a year, because we're trying to start this and do either $25 or $50, whatever. If we did $50, we come out at $1,300. I said plus a cake. I mean, we have some kind of a ceremony or something where we have cake and celebration, and we give them their award and we give them their check and tell them we appreciate them. However we do that, it's not a lot of money that it would cost us this year and less money moving forward. Again,
So you're
budget
saying-
would need to do it.
Sorry, so you're saying 1 to 4 years would be 50, 5 to 9 would be 100?
5 to 9 would be 100, 10 to 14 would be 200. 15 to 19 would be 3, 20 to 25 would be 4, and
But they would be recognized at the 5, 10, 15, 20,
right,
because this is just this is just the count,
right,
so.
yeah. But we say we give them all their award the first year to kick it off, and then we do it when they reach their plateau. I think that's what we're talking.
Yeah.
So when they reach the plateau, when they reach their next tier.
Right, yeah. So, so if I figured right, we're not looking at a substantial amount of money.
Oh, right, I see. So you didn't specify dollar amounts beyond 20 years.
Right. But we could easily say 25 years would be 500.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, we're gonna get someone for 30 years, but if so, give them an extra $100.
Yeah.
But. So,
And with this, you were saying 2024, so would we put this in effect in 2024, or would we wait until 2025?
we haven't done anything for recognition for employees this year. So my thoughts are if we could do it this fall, it would be a nice boost, but. And because we're not looking at a huge amount of money, that, if we don't have a general fund, we probably have a little select board money that we could we could take care of this year and then budget committee would just need to budget either through the general administration
Administration.
place or wherever, so that we'd have it to fund for another year.
Sure.
Now, the figures that we have are full-time employees, so it would be a
Right.
bit higher if we include
Oh,
permanent
right, we do.
part-time.
And how many permanent part-times do we have?
I actually had those figures first before I pulled them out for just full-time. I do have them on my PC.
Okay.
I can send those out to you.
But there aren't a lot, are there?
There are a few,
Are there?
but not, I mean, it's not exorbitant.
Yeah. So it would be a little bit more, because some of those may have 4 years.
So, and then, so we're looking to, if you've been here less than 1 year, 25. And then they have to get to their next tier, or is it every year they're gonna get a $25
I
appreciation?
think we talked about they had to get to their next, when they got to their next tier, which that would be 1 year. So if you're, this is less than 25, just because we're getting it started. So you get rewarded at your first year would be 50, then you get rewarded at your 5th year. Yeah, I mean, 5th, yeah, 5,
Yeah.
10, 15. And that we don't do it every year, and we could
Right.
decide we want to do it every year, or we could not do it every year.
So that's what I'm checking, cause
Right.
in here, it's like, well, if you're 1 to 4, so does that mean on year 1, 2, 3, and 4, you get a $25 bump, and then at 5 years, then you qualify for 50?
Right. I thought
Because-
we were talking doing it, starting it this year and then doing it when they hit the plateau.
Okay.
But I think that's what we need to
Right.
decide.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because
Right.
this is just a count of how many are
Yeah.
in this
Right.
particular category.
So you're not going to do it
Every year, for- yeah,
just once.
We do every year,
Yeah.
anyone who hit a plateau.
right.
Like, is that? good
And so
with you, Dan?
less,
Does
so
that make
people who
sense?
have worked less than 1 year,
I don't know, the first time I've really heard much about it, I was in the air when you were talking. about
Oh,
this,
okay.
So,
So
Barbara.
I'm trying to figure out this permanent part-time. What are you basing that on, hours?
well, there's a
Category.
category, that's
There
a,
is a category.
there's a category of
Permanent part-time.
employment, which is permanent
Well,
part-time.
35 firemen.
You got five firefighters, like Bruce Galush, that's been doing this for 30 or 35 years, Dan McKenzie, you know, you.
Oh,
Eddie's been 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what, you know.
so I mean, you guys
Okay.
need to think about this, figure that,
I hadn't thought about the fire department, because,
they're all
I
permanent.
mean, we do the
Permanent
warrants
part-time.
ourselves for that, but
But it's not a
we
category.
do it internally.
Yeah.
We give out awards, we just started that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
For
Plaques,
miles.
trophies and things like that.
you don't give cash awards.
No, we've done plaques and we've got more. As you make it 50 years, you know, we're talking plaques with an axe and different.
Yeah,
More elaborate, but the association pays for all that.
Mhm.
So, because what we had talked about was also doing something with external vendors, but then we want to make sure that they were local vendors.
right.
But
Right.
then, not everybody lives in the town of Belgrade and works here and recreates here. And is a $25 check gonna be more valuable to them than a $25 gift card to Dave's store if they live in Skowhegan?
Or Hammond Lumber, which has a location in, they have a location in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
I mean, Hammond, think of Hammond Lumber.
Or to
Then
here,
think
or
about
to the,
The folks who rent and don't own a home.
or to the grill, or to Christie's, or somebody, they could, you know.
Yeah, I see your point.
You know, because I think part of what we were thinking was it would also be a boost for the local vendors.
Vendors, right.
Right,
Right.
but then we also have to recognize the fact that not everybody lives local.
Right.
So,
And the problem that I would see with giving out vendor things like that is if you give me $25, I may have to go eat by myself. If I can't take, you know, if I don't have any money,
right.
you know, it doesn't go that far these
May
days.
have to
And
cost them to
so
add
I can take you $25 and go, you know, buy some more groceries or whatever,
Right.
money. That's all I'm thinking is, you know, that. If, and if it's a, but if it's a gift certificate to go buy something, that's a little different. than
Right,
A food gift certificate.
yeah, a gift card, so they, a Christie's gift card or a Dave's gift card.
Yeah,
Right,
And they could, and maybe we have a list and they say, oh, I'd like a Hammond gift card or a Christie's gift card.
that's the
or,
way I do
You
it.
know, we
Right,
list. the
Right, well,
people
that's how,
with-
that's,
That's how we
the
do it.
vendor of their choice.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
They would, yeah.
Right,
Everybody looks at the wall.
which I know isn't necessarily a local, I mean, but.
I mean, if somebody didn't like any of the vendors, but I think in general, if we do to help encourage local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because.
But I think Sharon's point is well taken, that we
Right.
might want to have an option
Yeah,
other than.
I mean, I can put gas in my car at Christie's or, you know,
right,
without,
Or if somebody wants to use $25 to go get a nice bottle of wine, you can get that at Christie's
Yeah.
every days.
Yeah.
right,
So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but I do think giving them a choice and maybe having their.
I like the choice, I think,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, yeah, it says to allow employees to select a gift card.
okay, so we probably need to,
And I'd like to say instead of external vendors, local vendors.
local vendors. And I think we probably need to look at, our part-time firefighters if we're doing. I mean, do we need to at least get the data and see how that would play out?
Yes, please.
Can you get that for me, Dan?
Dan's over here like.
Oh, yeah, I get the
Ross,
Okay, my question will be, is active or,
year's service or,
I mean, we have that, when Travis has started a spreadsheet, that's how we're going by, I think.
yeah,
So, no, that'll be easy. Then you at least figure it in and see if you wanna do it.
yeah,
And we're gonna continue doing our awards, we've already come up with that.
well, let's look
We do
at,
it on our yearly,
yeah,
all our Christmas awards night, but.
yeah, I think we should look at that before we get this totally enacted.
Agreed.
Okay,
Right, because we don't want to slight
no,
environment.
we do not,
Don't take it personally.
okay, all right.
What your name is.
Okay, so we
Lot
will,
going on.
we will come back to that, okay. So I move we open the remainder of our new business.
Second.
Okay, so the first thing on our agenda is committee appointments, resignations, we have none, so we can. We thought we were gonna have one tonight, but we,
It hasn't been through the committee yet, they haven't acted upon it.
oh,
We did one.
oh.
No.
We don't have your application.
Oh, I sent it to Mary.
It has to go through the committee, I think. First,
Hasn't been submitted to us yet.
right?
Yeah, we haven't gotten it. So you
I
get,
don't
you'll
know.
have another opportunity to come deal with us. Ta-da.
Hasn't this, Janet, hasn't this been fun?
I haven't attended any board meetings, it has been.
You're very kind.
She's over there like, the next time I'm gonna zoom in.
But for the first, for the first, if you're coming for a new committee, then we'd like to see you in person, even though we've already seen you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, and we should say that our next meeting is gonna be October 29th because of the,
October 1 is your next meeting.
Yeah.
oh, October 1st, I'm sorry, I'm already into November, never mind. Ignore me. Ignore me. Like a holiday. Okay, all right.
That's the question we asked, and we wouldn't have to come back.
Want to get it?
I
Mm,
mean,
Okay. Our next item is abatements and supplementals, so, we have an abatement, Assessor Ron DePlissy has submitted a supplemental bill for the board's review and approval. For David and Ann Lee, map 10, lot 46. And that is for the removal of land from the tree growth program, and they, amount of that is, $1,800.78. I move we approve the supplemental tax certificate and warrant 36 MRSA section 713.
Second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, Dan, am I correct? You don't vote on this?
yeah, I stated stuff. that we-
Okay.
the-
Shall we wait for Melanie or?
We can wait if you'd like, because it won't be too long, she just had to. Excuse herself.
We still have 3 members, so you're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all in favor, Barbara,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
myself. Yes. So we will have 3 yeses, 1 abstention and 1 absent, and then we just move that along, okay. Our next item is Cory here? Cory is.
Yeah, Corey is on.
Next item is Center for All Seasons bathroom remodel.
And so this, on your desktop came in, Corey made copies for me, this afternoon. It's main design and build. It's a proposal for architectural services,
Okay,
for the bathroom, renovations. Page 2 has some figures for you. Total design cost, 12,000.
okay. I know I have it in here somewhere.
$12,000 is just for design work.
Yeah, architect, yes.
Well, so in some of this stuff, and Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the stuff is a little bit more imperative that we tackle this immediately. But what we're finding we're doing as a committee is we're piecemealing the board, so we make a decision of the committee and it's coming right to the board.
Right.
And I know that some of this stuff we do need to be doing, but $12,000 is a big hit. And one of the conversations that we have is that they're going to renovate these bathrooms, that the original intention for the Center for All Seasons was for it to be an emergency shelter, and we cannot have it as an emergency shelter without shower facilities inside.
Right, okay.
So that's where we were looking for some guidance. I don't think any of us anticipated $12,000.
No, it would be 12,000 just to get it designed. I could draw it for less.
And public design.
So Corey, what are your thoughts with this? Cause I think we had this as part of our immediate needs, but we had it in the.
We had the bathrooms in immediate needs because they're atrocious.
Right.
And I don't even, I can't even say anything good about the bathrooms. Other than, I haven't been in the men's room, but.
Yeah, we did. We went in the other.
Well, I only went in the
Guy.
You're the one who ran right in. It's open. But they really are. They're atrocious. I would be embarrassed to have any function there where I told people to use the bathroom. But so that came up on our immediate list for the building committee because it's one of the things that it just needs to be done.
Needs to be done.
And then, as we talked in our last meeting, we talked about the fact that to have an emergency shelter, you needed showers. And I had introduced to the committee, I was like, I was coming out of there the other day, and why can't we bring those bathrooms out a little bit to give us more space and so forth, and then we got looking at it, and it appeared that we might have enough room to actually put a couple showers in there if we brought part of the wall out. And still have, in the bathrooms, but.
Extending the wall out onto the porch, so taking away some of the.
No, it's actually towards
Oh,
the
into the
hall.
hall.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
It's the hallway.
Because right now it indents.
Right now, you get the doors here and here swinging this way.
Right, and so we bring it,
Change the door swings to a different
Right.
spot.
Yeah.
or you change it similar to the rest area bathrooms where you walk through and then you just go and, one goes this way, one goes the other way, or whatever.
Yeah.
And there should be a door on, but I mean, so. It would make a little bit of a change to the window by Dan's office, but it's impacted.
But I guess my feeling is. Don't we need an RFP if we're gonna spend $12,000?
No, so an RFP is generally not 15.
Oh, 15 above, okay.
Corey, are you there?
I think I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been trying, I'm on my phone, so I've been trying to unmute myself and I just figured it out.
So Corey, what are your thoughts on us updating the bathrooms at this point? Like, I know we've got the one that doesn't flush fabulously, but essentially putting lipstick on it for right now while we work towards the next goal, which is an actual renovation of the bathrooms, installing plumbing for showers and having it ready as an emergency shelter. Because the other concern we have is that right now, we have a handicapped accessible building, but those bathrooms are not necessarily handicapped accessible.
No, the bathrooms are definitely in rough shape. I was kind of taken aback by the cost of the design. I think we probably could reach out to Sheridan and get a second opinion where it is under $15,000, and it wouldn't hurt us a bit to do that. As far as the bathrooms themselves, I was under the impression that this was going to be one of the first steps we did because of the condition they're in, and to be able to add the showers and make the building emergency shelter sooner rather than later.
What about, Thayer Engineering, Elliot Thayer?
Does he do in building stuff?
I
Yeah,
don't believe it, but does he?
I think he.
Maybe.
I don't know,
You're a builder, Dan, what do you think?
I mean,
Not
do
plenty
we,
of
do we
building.
have to?
Hammond might draw, they're just not, they don't do commercial.
Yeah, but it's not so much drawing. We gotta the floor's gotta be concrete. I mean, jackhammered out. This is gonna be quite a remodel in the bathrooms.
So for some reason you got a smell in there and somehow that plumbing needs to be all redone.
That bathroom has a stink because you can't flush things properly.
Right, so whether there's a plumbing,
There it is.
you need somebody who knows plumbing to design it. Make sure
Right.
it's gonna work correctly.
I mean, I guess I look at it that if we're gonna do that, put that much money to make toilets flush, we should make. And then we're gonna come back and put showers in, though the plumbing may, you know, are
If
we,
you're gonna jackhammer that up, you won't do the whole thing.
we'll do the whole thing.
We at least plumb up for your showers, whether you put them in or not.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, throwing a shower, it doesn't, put a fiberglass handicap accessible shower, yeah.
Well, not like that expensive,
Yeah.
it's expensive to be
Compared
jackhammering
to
up
the
if
walls.
you do plumbing.
Yeah,
That's gonna be expensive.
if you're gonna do that for the toilets, you might as well put the rest of the pipes down,
Yeah,
right?
it's not just the plumbing, it's the electrical, it's the ventilation, it's the heating. It's, we got baseboard heat in both of those bathrooms. We have ventilation, fans in the ceilings, I do believe, and none of it is up to snuff. It's not just gonna be throw a shower in there. It's gonna be a complete gut and remodel of those bathrooms.
I'm sure those dividers and all that are very expensive, those probably not cheap.
Yeah.
Well, so that's why I was saying, Corey, is if we. Because as an advisory committee that then comes to the board, we should probably have. Like our whole list of what we want to do within our time frame. But we don't have the money in the budget this year to accomplish this. So do we do a smaller project and see about getting the stuff up to snuff as far as the flushing? Or do we put money, do we look to see what the overall cost is gonna be and look towards funding something for next year? Also keep in mind that we don't want the budgets to go up exponentially.
Crazy.
We need to set a cap on that, and I'm hoping that we're doing that tonight. On what the budgets are going to look like. So do we look at that? And it could be, maybe we need to bond if it ends up being such a big project, if it's gonna be a lot of overhaul, if we're talking. Ripping out floors and installing all new plumbing, and what are we really looking
To
at?
do the whole thing, you're probably talking 2 or 3 hundred.
That's what I'm
I was
thinking, which is.
200, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just.
I'm calculating in my head right now.
If we're gonna bond, can we wait till the interest rates come back down a little bit?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
want me to scare you? Do you know what that engineer gave a rough estimate for remodeling those bathrooms?
Yes,
We're going that far.
Over 100,000.
I was gonna say 100,000.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So because I think, part of my intention with us doing this committee was that we look at the Center for All Seasons as a whole project. And we had some immediate needs with the safety concerns with the walkways and things like that. If there's something immediate that we need to take care of, but maybe we need to look at. Updating that building as one big project that we
One big
fund
project.
however we need to, if we need to bond for it and pay for it over 5 years. Or.
So to fix the bathrooms so they'll flush, is that a $10,000 project? Is that a $50,000 project?
I don't know what's.
I've got a question, and I don't know if anyone can answer it. But since we're a municipality, could we go to any of the trade schools around here that teach architectural drawings and stuff and see if they'd
UMA
be
has a
willing
great
to,
program.
see if they'd be willing to do a bathroom redesign for us as part of one of their projects?
Check with
UMA has a
Dartmouth.
great architectural program and they just did that for someone else. And I'm connected to UMA with another instructor for the Belgrade Historical Society. It's gonna help us out a great deal.
Because even the high school vocational schools used to
Right.
be able to take a car to their shop class and get
Yeah.
repairs done for little or nothing because they had to have the training.
Well, the Voc school that's in Waterville, is that part of?
That's part of ours.
Part of our
And
system.
But I
My
don't,
It's
point
part
with
of-
that be, I mean, that'd be fine for the design, but I think your plumbing, you wanna somebody to.
Well, yes, then you have,
Yeah.
right.
but
You wanna do it one more time and do it
Well, that's what I
right.
was just gonna say,
Yeah.
if we want, when we're done with this.
I mean, the design, I think you're right, you could just have somebody.
I think the design idea is a nice idea though.
Do you
But I
have?
would go to UMA.
Pardon?
Do you have a contact?
I don't have a contact for the architecture, but I can get you one. I have a lot of contacts at
I
UMA.
mean, it wouldn't hurt to send
It
you,
doesn't hurt to ask.
Hannah's the, ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They might, I know they just normally distinguish between commercial, like with a fire station, they gave us a picture of what it looked like, but they can't give you a strong, because they don't. That's not architecture, but their design, they have the bath, kitchen and bath.
Yeah.
They might be able to do it too, help, out if you can't find them.
So we want to,
Enough so
Then
we
we
can
find
work out.
somebody that does plumbing.
Yeah, and then you gotta
plumbing
want to find
stuff,
some engineer that's good at that.
So
but we want to, I would want to make sure that we have it done right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, and that's
Absolutely.
because we were talking about just showing stuff up, and I said, well, if we're considering doing this is the intention of this building. And last year, when we had no power for 5 days, we couldn't use it as an emergency shelter, because it didn't have shower facilities and we didn't have 2 big staff.
and if you have a committee too, you probably wanna look at bigger generator, you can look at it, you know,
Look at what?
a bigger generator. I think
Okay.
that one will not do.
Sharon,
I
could
think
you
it's
put that
only
on our list?
it's
20.
right on our list now.
I believe it, I just looked it up, and I believe it's only a 20 kW,
Oh, so maybe.
enough to get by and keep the heat going.
But not enough.
It's
Well, that's
Lights to
shelter.
a point, you know, and stuff, there's something.
is there any
Works.
grants from MEMA?
I was literally just like, can we get any grant money on stuff like that?
There's a lot of stuff out there, if you look into it, I mean, we apply all the time, we've been
Yeah.
trying to, the next thing coming up, but we haven't failed one, but we're working.
Yeah, I mean, design work, if you can go through Orno. And even if they do a plumbing design, all you gotta do is take it to us, and say, is this correct? I mean, they're teaching these people to try to get the licenses, so they're gonna be going by the book.
Well, they probably have an engineer involved with the cost anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
The deal that we have with UMA, and I know it's a grant that they're working under, it's Pathways to Careers. But all of their library and archaeologist students, archivist students need to do internships.
Right,
And they have to do them whether it's for their bachelor's degree or the master's degree. And so I got a hold of this lady that works there, and she's come and met with us already, and I mean, she's talking a full blown look at the society and how everything's done and.
yeah,
And that's what they do with their students every, year, and it's under this grant. So the student is working towards their career.
Right.
So I would think that they might be able to do that from the other,
We can ask, worst they can say is no.
yeah.
Well, I can certainly ask the lady I've been talking to, and she will know whether there's other grants at the other campuses and so forth.
Right,
Why don't I offer to do that, and Lorna, I can send you any information.
That would be
then I
great,
can.
thank you.
I'd be happy to do that. I would say have we, and Corey, I don't know if you know this, but have we even had anybody look at the flushing problem?
Yes, what needs to be done is some of the fixtures have been changed, upgraded, but some of the fixtures are original fixtures, so it's original toilets. Miss Bros Galoosh, if you guys didn't know.
Welcome back.
So yeah, so the urinal, but both urinals are original urinals. And of course, unfortunately, the first few years, they weren't kept real well, and so stuff gets built up inside them. And the toilets are very old, and I had to find parts for the two that are remaining in the ladies' room and one in the men's room are very old. I think at 20 plus, and I have a hard time getting the parts from. We've changed one toilet, that one works beautiful. But for the short term, yes, you could change the fixtures to upgrade it. But if you're gonna do this in the next 3 to 5 years, then you gotta figure out your money, because the toilets are, you're looking at $350 to $400 a toilet for a good flushing toilet.
$75 for a handicap one at Sam's Club right now.
Yeah, that's not a good flushing toilet. You'd be changing it in 6 months. It's not a commercial toilet.
Okay. So sounds like we need to do a little more research before we go much farther.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Corey,
Yes.
before you feed off from there, I did get a chance to speak to Chase Morrill. And he's willing to come out and take a look at Loon Cottage for us and at least give us a list of materials that we might need and what he sees. And
Oh, perfect.
He hinted that maybe they'd help more than that, but I didn't hold him to it.
Yeah, I've got one estimate for jacking it up and one estimate for roof, but not much luck in getting people to actually come here and give me an estimate on jacking it up so we can get it out of the ground.
Well, so you and I put our heads together and just figure out a time, and he said, just let him know. So
Sounds good.
that's on the side note on that.
I would
but still
think
part of
that
some
on that, on the
procedure
bathrooms
stuff.
for a minute, that if we are not going to do anything with them for over a year, that there are some things other than the flushing that needs to be done.
I'm thinking we'll get this information and it'll be back before us in a couple,
Yeah, I just
next
wanna-
meeting and what after.
We ought to be
we
able to
move
shut
along
down.
in this.
I mean, worst case.
You don't want to have to keep the doors open so
Uh,
that.
Worst case, we replace the toilets.
Remodel in a year, they still be good enough to go back in.
Yeah.
Right, I agree.
Okay, all right. Let's move along then, if everyone's in agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon.
And our next item is the CMP poll permit application. Lorna, you want?
So this came in, this is to be placed, north of pole 03, 110 feet at the Knowles Road, AKA Summer Haven Road. The paper is a little hard to see, it's what they faxed over to us. Jason did get back to us this afternoon and said he was able to stop by and take a look, and he did approve the location.
Okay. So is this a new pole and a new light that's going in, or they're just moving a pole?
They don't say on the application.
Oh, okay.
I assume it's new.
Says line clerk's new service, first page.
Yeah, line clerk, new service. Maybe they need a pole there to be able to go down for someone to develop the property.
We usually do have to set one.
Okay,
But they don't describe that explicitly.
I don't see any problem. Anyone else have any?
It's hard to read too.
It is very hard to read.
Yeah.
So I don't have any objections, but I'm thinking we're getting it because there's a need for it,
Right.
Yes.
even though it's not exactly clear what that need is. So I'm taking it at face value that this came to us because someone in town, a taxpayer, needs
Needs a
something
pole.
there, and CNP is responding.
Probably in the town right away.
Mhm.
That would be my guess.
Okay.
Road right away, so they need it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good point. So. I have no objection to this at all.
So are you making a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the central line power company's line clerk's new service application. As submitted.
As submitted. Any second?
Second.
Dan seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, Melanie?
I guess so. I don't like how it's not clear, because on here it looks like there's gonna be 3 polls. So if we look on page 3, there's 3 delineations for polls, but what we have is you can't read it at all. So I hesitate for us to approve something that we can't read. And I don't know, it says that Fairpoint did this in June, and it's now September. So if we brought it back to the next meeting and requested a copy.
Well, this is 8/18.
Yeah, they asked for it to be, put in front of you as soon as possible. They're waiting on the town.
Well, it says 18. And 6/20 is when it was dated over here.
So they may have been waiting on this since June. Maybe that's why it's urgent.
They're waiting on what?
So, you guys, it's Bruce Glush
Yeah.
again. So you guys just approved one of these for one of my neighbors. I had to sign off on it, and then you guys had to sign off on it. I believe it's just for a poll. I think that 8/18 is for a new residence going in on the Nose Road there on the right-hand side, because I see that they've got some poles out in the field. So it's probably the pole out on the Nose Road that they're probably setting like they had to do on my property.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says number of polls 1.
Yeah, you need one in our right away, and if they second
Right,
or
the rest
it's on
are-
private,
Yeah.
private property.
Okay,
All right, I guess I'm okay with it, but I feel like if we get something that we can't read, we shouldn't. Even have it in our book yet, I would call them and ask for me a copy. Could
Do
you
you
send us
wanna-
something, please?
do you want to
that we can
abstain
read?
or?
No, I just think that if we see something that's not readable. They should have to send us something that we can read, because it's really hard to act on something that we're trying to guesstimate what it is. Because that kind of ties our hands a little bit.
It does. We're taking a lot of things at face value based on the presentation of the information.
So, I mean, if Jason went out and looked
I was gonna say,
in a public way, he's just saying it's okay. then
That was-
Okay.
That was a clincher for me.
yes,
Okay, Jason
Okay.
said it's good.
all right, so Melanie. All right, yes, no, abstain?
Yeah, we have something. So, Jason was it just verbal?
He called the office this afternoon because Mary had asked him to take a look. I asked him to take a look. We hadn't heard back from him, so I messaged him and asked him to check it. And get back to us, which he did. He went out and checked it and called back this afternoon and said he had checked it and he approved it. So.
Okay.
I know they're all busy. All the guys who do anything with construction type stuff.
All right, I'm okay with it.
You're in favor, okay, Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes,
Dan, and I'll vote yes, so it's 5 yeses. Okay. I move we open other business. And Dan, we have a request for
Yeah,
a repeater.
you know, we've had
Problem.
issues up there at the tower, we're slowly correcting them. We did the antenna, the cable down, Peter ended up putting a temporary repeater in for us, ours was messing up every once in a while. And we tried to apply for grants to fix it, so this we're in the town of Rome too also. So we failed on the grant, we're applying for another one, but in the meantime, we need to get this fixed, cause we got interrupted coverage. Sometimes it's scratched, you can't hear and stuff, so, the thing what we're looking at, just to explain, right now on the west road, the tower, that repeater. It's just a basic repeater, so you can't go to another tower with it. The one we wanna put in, so I think the basic one's like 10 grand, this one's 20 grand. So if we get another grant, we can go up to Mile Hill, up to Peters Tower. I hear there's another tower going. It's not in Belgrade, but you start from Belgrade off of Route 8 Smithfield.
Oakland.
Yeah, but it ends up in Oakland.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll talk
Oh,
whatever, when we key our mic, it will pick up the one that's closest to help
oh,
pick
big
this
help.
up, like Pine Tree's bad, certain sections of Belgrade are bad, we get down the Bartlett Road, different areas. You'd be amazed, because you think it would hit West Road, but. So Rome, I already talked to Gary, and they're gonna pay half, so I just need to pay for our half. Then we did talk about, we need to, we have a tower fund, we kinda killed it for the new antenna and cable, but. With the cost of equipment, we gotta up that, I think they were paying 300, we were putting 300 in a year, that's not enough, but what happens to blow up?
Right.
Or we need 20 grand, you know, so. We're talking about either doing 2,000 or 3,000 a piece, put back into the tower fund, but for now, to get it going, to get a new repeater, because Peter had to steal that one, put our old one back. Somebody else needed more than we did. They're
So-
died totally.
So we have a quote for 22,985.
Yes,
So really, we're looking at 11,500 from Belgrade
yeah,
funding.
yeah, Oakland, I mean, Rome's paying the other.
Yeah.
So they were the only two on it, we have the same frequency as Oakland, but Oakland has their own tower system. It's done by PL, so it's a little confusing, but. But, we used to have Sydney, but they went on their own, so it's just Rome.
Okay.
Yeah, I
The
know,
water comes from Waterville tower to our tower and then to us.
I know that new tower they're talking about, Landry,
Right.
in Rome, that's talking about, but
He called me, I just haven't had time to go, and he's called Gary too. But that's another 20 grand. Plus you're gonna, we have free rental up here, even with the new owners, they kept free rental, with Peter. We go on his. $250 or 300 a month split between us. So that will be our rental fee to be on his tower. So right now we get a pretty good deal, you know, we get,
Right.
I thought they were gonna start charging them after Gaggy sold it, but the new companies.
Well, it is the fire department, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Peter's gonna charge us something. And I mean, I think Oakland, they get charged, Mushrooms, that tower, they all get charged.
Okay, so we would be taking this out of,
That.
what accounts?
That, yeah.
Capital reserve for,
It's technically a truck equipment capital reserve is the main, we call it a truck capital, reserve. It's a
Okay.
major equipment replacement, like.
so it's the one that's got the 604,000.
Yeah, we've done pumps out of it before, we've had the pumps replaced.
So would you zero out the tower fund or just leave that and take it all
I'd
out?
probably leave the 19, I think it's 1,900 in it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
1996.
I leave it just in case it's something.
Okay.
Minor.
So it would be coming out of the 588-00 account.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it takes a week to get.
So I move we authorize the purchase of the repeater. With a shared cost for the town of Rome, taking our cost out of a capital project account 588-00.
In the amount of,
Oh, in the amount, oh, I'm sorry, the amount of, 11,500, not to exceed 11,500, because then I don't have to do the math.
There you go.
I'll second that.
Well done.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, Melanie?
yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
yes.
Woo-hoo. Five
Thank you.
yeses. Okay, thank
All right.
you.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Dan. Talk to you later.
Go get something to eat.
Yeah.
Grill's closed. Okay, and then our other piece under other business is
The trailer.
the trailer. Do you or Corey wanna take it?
Do
Where
you
we're
wanna
at?
talk about it, Corey, or do you want me to?
Well, basically, we went to have the trailer repaired. Because it had some issues going on. Lights weren't working. The private guy that was gonna work on it had knee surgery, so he wouldn't work on it. That's why it has dragged out as long as it has. But we took it to Big Tex and they gave me a verbal $2,500 quote to repair it. And I pushed them for a written one today, so it's a little over $2,000 to repair it. And that does not include the amount of rust that is accumulated on it, on the frame, on the fenders, on the lights, nor does it include The fact that the axles are bent on it, those are totally different, separate things that they didn't quote, so that would be substantial. It's what, 2007 trailer, I think is what it was.
Yes, yeah, we dug out the receipt for the purchase, Corey, August of 2007, so it's a 17-year-old trailer.
I got a question. On trailers, typically, they don't have axles. Are you talking about the tube that runs between the hubs? That's bent?
It says it has a tandem axle,
Yeah, well, it's
no?
normally
I
trailers
know
don't have
nothing
axles that
about-
run through that tube. They're a
Trailers.
hub that's bolted to what they call the axle, but there's no axle. It's not like a rear end, it doesn't have axles that go through it.
I don't know.
Normally there's a tube
I
that
know
goes
nothing
onto your
about
hubs, and your hubs, the bearings, everything else bolt to your hubs. And normally those tubes are crowned, so
Yes,
they're
they're
all,
crowned.
they're automatically bent so that they're crowned for the weight when they flex down, up and down. So,
Yeah, but according to them, they are bent worse. They are not typically bent this bad. And from what I'm gathering, rumor has it that somebody put the skid steer on that trailer at one point in time.
okay, so they're bent down versus up, because they should be bent with the crown high.
Yes, so
I know I've got a car hauler that, if you get underneath it, your axles
Goes like this,
curve from the top.
not flat.
Right.
yeah. So the thing is, we spend over $2,000 for a 17-year-old trailer, or we buy a new trailer. That's basically what it's gonna boil down to. We're gonna spend $2,000 on the trailer, and we're still gonna have a 17-year-old trailer
With Russ.
with rust.
With Austin and whatever axle you have.
Or what do we use this trailer for, that we couldn't put this on the budget for next year?
We use that trailer almost every day. It's the trailer that we haul grass with when we're mowing anywhere in town, and it's the trailer that we haul all our lawn. It's not a matter of, can we put it in the budget for next year? No, we need a trailer to haul our equipment, and that trailer is not safe. And if we use it when it's not safe, it won't even pass inspection right now.
So if you didn't have a trailer, you'd be at a standstill in terms of the capabilities that you need on a daily basis. Is that
Exactly. We've actually been working in the cemetery for the last 2 days because I dropped it off Monday morning with the intent that it was going to be fixed Monday afternoon and would go back to normal. Well, then they threw a monkey wrench into it because for the amount of cost to fix it.
Now, this new trailer, is this another steel trailer or is this aluminum?
They're the quotes for both of them are steel trailers.
Is that better?
Aluminum is better, but it's a lot more expensive.
More expensive, but it doesn't rust.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna last
Yep.
20, 30 years for an aluminum trailer.
We did pretty well with 17 here.
Yeah, we did real well.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I mean, so if this is 64, is an aluminum 10 or is it 18?
Or what?
The 64 is a 10,000 pound trailer versus the other one, which is a 7,000 pound trailer.
No, my question is, if we got an aluminum trailer, how much more expensive is that?
Oh, I don't know.
I just was trying to get some relativity
I
there.
bet it'd be $8,000, be my guess.
Another,
For an equivalent.
another couple thousand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
could be a couple
Probably.
thousand. It's also a lot lighter to move around.
Mhm.
absolutely it is.
It's easier on the vehicles. So, I mean, I think it's worth getting the price. So we could at least have the option to look at it.
Okay, I can get some prices on aluminum trailers tomorrow, no problem, but that doesn't, I mean, Are we gonna wait for, we're at a standstill right now. Do you want me to continue to using the trailer with no lights, and no brakes, or what do we wanna do?
So, Cory, can I just ask a question, because we've got a price on the trailer of 4,500, but then their out the door price is $2,000 more.
Nope, it's 4,500.
4,500, and then down on the bottom, it says 10 PI, 18 foot, 6,400 out the door with space.
That's the other trailer. That's the trailer that the cemetery committee, 3 of the 5 recommended that we get that trailer because it's a better, heavier duty trailer. We can do more with it. So they didn't have a print off. They just looked it up for me real quick while I was there and wrote it on the bottom of that print off.
So the typed version is a 7,000 pound trailer, and the one on the bottom at 6,400 is 10,000 pound, right?
Yes, a way heavier duty
heavy-
trailer.
But they're still both steel trailers?
Yeah.
Yes, they're both still steel trailers.
And what's the capacity on the one? Because we've got a GBWR of 7,000 on the first one.
The other one's 10,000.
So 10,000 is the.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I know you need a trailer, so.
But we absolutely do need a trailer.
So I guess my question is, could we? Let's assume it's 2,000 more, I don't know, I mean, let's assume a reasonable thing. Do we want to authorize up to a certain amount if we can get an aluminum one? For that price, if not, we go with a steel trailer? Or,
Well.
Does your budget?
The other question I've got is, the trailer, is it a utility trailer, or is it considered an equipment trailer?
It's considered a utility trailer. It has the screened ramp on the back that we can drive lawnmower and the tractor up on.
Okay, even the 10,000 pound one?
Yes, yep.
I have one like that. Yeah.
Do you check anybody else too for pricing on the trailer?
I priced what is it, Scott's Recreation, and they were
More
$600
expensive.
or $800 more. I do believe is what, I've got it written down someplace, but I don't have it with me here. But they were more expensive because I originally thought, okay, they're gonna be the cheapest, but no, they weren't.
What about Tractor Supply?
We don't want a tractor supply trailer, wasting our money.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
okay, and our money will come out of, split evenly between
The two accounts.
cemetery
yeah.
and facilities? And these are not reserve accounts, these
No,
are
this
just
is
regular
our
accounts?
budget,
Okay,
correct.
budget account.
Yeah, because I had originally budgeted in for $8,000 for repairing the 1-ton sandblasting epoxy coating. And I ended up finding somebody that did it for 3. So we do have extra money,
Okay,
which surprised me that they were able to do it so well and so cheap.
okay. I'm out of my league on the difference between steel and aluminum.
good
Is it
trade.
worth considering aluminum?
I wouldn't mess with it at this point if they needed that bad,
If, I'm with Dan.
because
We have a steel one, which is-
and I don't know if they even would have one in stock, so aluminum's are great, but they don't necessarily stock.
Okay.
it.
All right, okay. So are we looking to do the 7,000 pound or the 10,000 pound?
10,000, in my mind.
So the 10,000.
The-
then we've got the
That would be my sense,
Yeah.
but. Okay,
Corey, what would you,
The
do
10.
you have a preference for the 10 over the 7?
Yes, the 10 over the 7.
okay.
Let's not put the skid steer on it, though, that, with that screen,
No, we will not put the skid steer on it.
those screen ramps is not made for it to start with.
Yeah,
Good.
okay, I move we approve the purchase of a 10,000 pound, 18-foot utility trailer from Big Tex Trailer World at a cost of $6,400 to come evenly out of the facilities and cemetery budgets.
I second that.
Discussion?
And what are we doing with the old trail? Are we putting it out for bid?
Well,
Give it to me.
let's vote on this one. All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Now, what are we doing with the old trailer, Corey?
I don't know, you tell me.
It's a surplus equipment. It should go out to bid. People bid on it to get rid of it.
Yes, we don't want it.
Right.
So
Someone could give
if we,
us- Right?
Yeah, I mean, the pictures I looked at, I mean, yes, there's some rust on the fenders and stuff. A lot of the frame is surface rust. So,
You-
yeah, I'd
you
clean
could
it up.
sell it to somebody and they would be perfectly content with hauling it around, I'm sure, with some work.
I can put all new lights on it. I've done it to my car hauler 3 times. I've always taken out the lights. Cost me about $70, $80 for the lights. So, somebody can use it. I don't wanna just.
Are you
give it away.
making an offer, Dan?
What, to fix it?
No, to
Bye.
buy it.
No, enough trailers, but I'm saying, I rebuild mine all the time. I got a car haul one that I put lights on and marker lights and everything. We're always taking them out. I just,
Okay, so, Corey, you will look into putting it out to bid, is that?
Yes, yep, we will.
All right. Anything else under other business?
Yes. We need to set a cap for what we're gonna look at with our budget this year. We didn't do it last year, we didn't do it the year before. And as I stated the other night, the folks that are worried about their property taxes, this is one of their concerns. It's our agenda to set a cap. We expect 2, 3, or 5. We can't have budgets going up 10%, more than one budget again this year.
Well, last year we went up what? A little over 5.5%?
Overall.
Overall.
Yeah.
What's anyone think?
My thinking is, I was gonna say, I'm not opposed at all to a cap. I think using a guide like consumer price index might be something, it's a good gauge. So if that goes up 3% or 3.5%, that could be something that we could use.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say I've got a cap of no more than 5%.
And you're talking about expenditures that we have control over, that wouldn't include the county, that wouldn't include the RSU.
Right.
Those are just our own.
We control budget, so we give them a guideline of no more than 5%. And then sometimes the wants versus the needs slide to a different column. And we work towards those instead of funding them all in one year. Much like the summer seasons.
And how much has the budget gone up over the last couple of years?
Well, we took that big hit when we adjusted all the salaries.
Yeah.
That was,
well, we took a big hit when we had to start doing maintenance on all these buildings that we didn't know about too.
right, yeah.
Hopefully, we're
Caught up.
plateaued on some of that.
Hopefully,
stuff.
we're evened out on a lot of it, yeah. So do we want to use a guide of 5%? I mean, it may be something comes back that's dramatic and we have to relook at it, but. Give her.
But I mean, I like the idea of the consumer price index on, you know, if prices are going up, you look at what's prices are going up on stuff, goods and services.
Well,
I
we're
don't
in the
like,
budget,
I
so
just
we.
don't like willy-nilly numbers, just come out of the sky without a basis on it.
Mhm.
Now, are we talking 5% overall budget? So that you may have one department that has an 8% increase and another one only has 2% and they level out.
No,
Or you-
I would say the way we always did it was that each department head was given a guideline of no more than X amount is what we're gonna increase this year, and then we never ever had an issue with anybody keeping their budget within those guidelines. But without the guidelines, it gives free rein. And it's not our money.
I mean, I think. I guess my feeling is, I think a guideline's great. Should there be something that is. All of a sudden, the toilets don't work at all, and we've got to put some money, then maybe that budget is gonna be a little higher than someplace else, and that we have to. I hate to say, everyone, you have an extra 5% to spend. That's why I like an overall budget, so that maybe someone's gonna spend 2%. I don't want everyone to spend the extra money.
No, I think what we're giving them is a cap.
Right.
Everyone's budget is going to go up somewhat,
Mhm.
but we need to give them a cap because it's our job to give them a cap. Because we are literally where the buck stops.
But what's Carol saying, it's the same thing happens in the state. State has surplus money, they spend it every year to meet whatever that is, you know, so that they know that next year they're gonna get the same amount,
Clean them out, right.
you know, and we don't want a department just to go out and start spending money to hit that 5% either, so. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with, you know, given that as a general rule, but we may have to turn around as the board, it's our job to go back and look at it and go, well, now we may have to cut 1% off everybody's budget, or
Right.
1% of this one.
And that's why I think if we start with the guidelines.
As long as they're not overloaded.
Bring it back and
Right.
tweak. Because we don't ever have a first pass and this is the budget. And it's our job to go back and say what needs to be cut and how do we need to stay within the guidelines, because that's the responsibility that we have.
Mhm.
Is to give the guidelines.
Okay. And it's the same thing with salaries, you give that cap and what your maximum you're thinking about on salaries too, because that's gonna affect everybody's budget considerably. It's probably one of your biggest costs. A lot
Right.
of stuff.
So is everyone comfortable with the 5%? I mean,
I think it's easily doable.
why don't we, I mean,
Just knowing that the departments, when they go through, they may still get some cuts.
they may, right? And if someone has a good argument why they need 5.5, they need to be really good in their argument.
And if somebody can do it at 3,
Then they
Or
need to do it at
Yeah.
3.
Yeah,
That's right.
we don't want you to go.
Yeah,
over
we don't wanna
every budget
say-
of 5%.
We want
Yeah.
you all to jump 5%, but. So I make a motion that the board sets the cap. For departments and committees to not exceed 5%. For 2020.
There a second?
I'll second that.
We'll second that?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, Dan,
Yes,
Barbara,
yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so that's 5 yeses. Okay. Can we go to warrants?
Yep.
Okay, I move we approve warrant 102 in the amount of $11,265.27. All in favor, Melanie? Peter,
Yes.
Barbara?
yes,
Dan?
yes,
I'll vote yes, that's 5 yeses. I move we approve AP warrant number 103 in the amount of $1,000.
second,
All in favor, Dan,
yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Melanie?
Where is that one? Okay, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I'm over on these.
Okay, and I vote yes, so that's 5 yeses. I move we approve payroll warrant number 104 in the amount of $23,481.25.
Second that.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
yes,
Dan,
Yes,
and I'll vote yes. I move we approve warrant number 105 in the amount of $133,700.34.
I'll second that.
Okay, so do we have any questions on the warrant? I'm sorry, what?
All seasons tree service on page 1.
Yeah,
I know that. Center for All Seasons Committee had discussed removing some trees around the cottage, and it appears it was already done. So for those ones, we generally identify the trees and then. What are the trees that were removed at North Belgrade, and then the trees that were removed around the cottage, did we clarify that with Hans, that those trees were okay to come down? Because that was on the shirt.
So this is take down in Holloway, one large pine on corner of Bloom Cottage and one rotted maple. One large oak limb over the roof. Clean up rotten maple, bucket truck, chip truck, mini skid, and climber and groundsman, is the 1,600, for the cottage.
Which is on the shore. So did Hans,
Yes, it would have to be approved by Hans.
and we have that approval?
Do you want me to call them?
So it's just, that's why I'm asking.
Do we need to call them now, or we just need to make sure that we get approval, so it's done in the future?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's already done,
It's
so.
done, so
Right.
we just need to make sure that they went through the right process.
Yeah, and then anything down on the shore now that we have that, because we do
Right.
not need to be getting fined by DEP for doing anything that we're not supposed to be doing.
Well, and if you remove a tree, you've got to replace the tree, so
Yep.
that needs to be. We require that of other people, we need to require it of ourselves.
Yep.
So. Dan may already have that in, but,
I just, took a picture of this and sent it to him and asked
Okay.
him about it.
okay. Anything else?
I just. I'm sure that they don't.
The other one was at North Belgrade.
Yeah,
You took down a couple trees back there.
Half of maple over playground,
Oh, yeah.
double broken maple, dead apple limbs, dead apple covered in vines at North Belgrade.
Laura, I just saw on some of these, they say separate. I haven't seen that before. Is that just a new? I mean,
What
again, on
about-
page 3, there are a lot of them that say separate. Is that just part of, maybe Lisa, the way Lisa's entering them into the system? Just
I'm looking
curious.
Page 3, so I can see what you see.
Yeah.
Which one?
Well,
Like
it's
there's half a
Hammond.
dozen
Oh,
or more.
separate, so maybe she means separate. Because they go
There's a
different
separate-
places.
Right, it's probably just that it's all one check for Hammond, but
Right.
then you've got all of
Oh,
these separate line
I
items.
just thought
where it's- yeah, where
that
it's pulled
probably is
from-
the way she's
yeah,
lining it.
Where it's
Okay.
pulled from different places. Yeah,
Yep, no, I
yeah, but
just,
just one check.
that's what I thought.
So we did get a couple of those Boston Post candidates.
Yes, Mary, had money in her, account under general government. She had looked at them previously and when, we both looked at them together and thought that was a great idea, so.
I think the only thing we'll have to do is, I don't think they engrave that.
No, they don't, we have to do
We have
it.
to find a place to have those.
Yes, yep, yep.
Town of Belgrade,
Yep.
great.
And she's already started looking for the next.
Next oldest person.
Yes, yeah, because
Good.
the gentleman passed away, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a celebration of life. I think on October 13th, sometime that we can do.
Okay, anything else on the warrant? We ready to vote?
Ready?
Okay, all in favor, Dan?
Yeah.
Barbara,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. 5 yeses. Next one is, I move we pay, payroll warrant number, 106, the amount of $30,583.70.
Yes, what's the difference? What made the, right, different amount?
We had some overtime on this check, or this payroll, we should say.
where do we have overtime this time of year?
We had 2 people go to training, so they worked an extra day.
So I'm paying for the.
You're,
I know, she made an
there's a
error.
mistake, yeah.
Yeah, she made an error, that's
You're
why,
originally down at 46.
Yeah, that's what-
$46,000.
that's why she, did a separate payroll for
All right,
that.
that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you look at.
but I'm looking to see what the difference is here.
So she's
Really-
just
it's
correcting
really-
her error.
I'm sorry.
She's correcting her
She
error.
did correct her error, yeah, she backed that checkout, voided it,
Okay.
yes.
Was there a second to the payroll warrant?
I'll second it if not.
Barbara seconds, okay. Any discussion? Everyone comfortable? All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yep.
And I vote yes. I move we pay AP warrant number 107 in the amount of $9,196.56.
Second.
All in favor, Melanie? Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. It's 5 yeses. And then I move we approve payroll warrant number 108 in the amount of $1,442.06.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
All in favor, Melody?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay. 5 yeses, that takes us through the warrants. And should bring us to the town manager report.
So we had a successful general assistance audit conducted September 5 by Judy Knoll, General Assistance Program Specialist. The GA ordinance maximums hearing will be October 1, immediately preceding the regular meeting at 6:30. The candidate forum will be held Tuesday, September 24 at 6 p.m. at the town office. KV-COG General Assembly meeting is September 25 in Gardner. Melanie and Barbara are both signed up for that. I signed myself up as well in case I can make it. The mobile speed sign is now located near the Dunn Road where it intersects with the West Road and will be there for about 1 week at the request of a resident. The next 2 weeks will be dedicated to getting initial budget figures together with department heads. Tentative schedule with the budget committee is October 7 and 8, 21 and 22. We'll need to schedule meetings in November for the select board and department heads and budget committee. Submissions for the newsletter were due the 16th. We plan to have the newsletter printed and out to residents by mid-October. Delivered the deposit check for the pickup truck for fire and rescue to Height in Farmington. Listened to the short-term rentals piece on NPR, which confirmed this is a statewide issue and no easy answers. Met with an abutter to the parcel we're working on for the new fire station. Mary, Barbara, and I met to work on the employee handbook. We should have a draft ready for the board to review in the next few weeks. Facilities continues to work on trying to get estimates for Dalton properties, but there's been no progress yet. 2 properties on Pinkham's Cove Road will need a water treatment system for the salt contamination. The state is working with our code enforcement officer for the necessary permits and scheduling time before the planning board. The comprehensive plan committee will meet the 18th at 5:30 to discuss future land use and designated road areas. We had ordered 2 of the Boston Post cane replicas. Contacted Maine Municipal Association with regard to the cost recovery issues discussion at your last meeting. They did respond and I put them in touch with the gentleman. I can't think of his first name. Dave, wasn't David?
The gentleman that was here at the meeting,
Yeah.
and did they think
I
that,
think it was David.
I think it was David, yeah.
did they
Two
think there's something that needs to be
They
done
didn't,
there?
they didn't say a lot, but they appreciated that we had reached out. I almost got the sense that they had no idea there was an issue. So, it was good to get them involved. Reached out to our contacts, with regard to railroad maintenance to see about fixing the Bartlett Road section. I know that Luke read the email I sent to him. He's not the railroad, but he's the contact I have who was involved with the safety setup when they did the
Okay.
maintenance. And he's pretty responsive. I've asked twice for a contact at the railroad, but he hasn't given me one. And Scott Ferguson reached out to him as well, and I reached out to him again. He said he had forwarded the information to the railroad. And then I had somebody call earlier today and said that they were sitting down here at the tracks. And there was no train, but the lights were flashing and they had sat
Did
there
that
for some
earlier.
That
time.
happens quite often.
So I did send Luke another message and said urgent, there's no train, but the lights are flashing,
Flashing.
because you know that could back up traffic.
Right.
McGraw Pond Road will be shut down tomorrow, 6:30 to 4. And that's for culvert replacement. Signs we put out, emergency services and RSU 18 have been notified.
Did, we find out who dumped that sand going up Minot Hill and their call here, have Jason Wilkes to clean it up last week. I didn't know if it was coming out of the pit there down by the school.
I don't.
Somebody
I
had come
don't-
down and headed up to Minot Hill and it was that much sand, probably 30 feet long and
Yeah,
12 feet wide.
I said,
Really?
somebody's gonna skid in that.
Yeah, so I had called over here, had Jason go see if he could clean it up, but I was wondering if we found out who dumped that.
I don't
because-
know. Do you want me to check with Jason?
Well, I mean, we just need to make sure that they know we dumped it. If we've had to clean it up, we had to send somebody to clean it up,
Right.
you know, if it happens again, somebody's gonna get a bill.
I was behind a waste management truck the other day on the West Road and they had some sort of a. I don't know, it was the size of a mattress, flat, and it looked like it was wrapped up in plastic, like a big plastic bag or vinyl, and there was white powder coming out. I have no idea what it was.
Sounds suspicious,
Yeah.
right?
White powder,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, how many big trucks like that, trash trucks have white powder on the back? And I wonder what it was,
Gypsum.
right? I don't know.
Hard to tell, really.
But yeah, I noticed that it looked like somebody had cleaned up the sand, I just wondered if we had to do it, if somebody realized they had dumped it. Have Jason go over to take care of that, it's cost less time. Absolutely.
I'll check with.
You're standing sitting there at the bottom of the hill and you look left towards the school, you can see that little pit that they're hauling a bunch of stuff out of, and I wondered if that's where it came from, when they came around that corner and it just.
So this is Francis. We did Francis's today or Ray?
No, we did Ray's.
We did Ray. So Francis's will save. Okay.
So are we gonna talk about these meeting dates or?
I gave you those so that you could check your calendars. And see if any of those would work for you all, and then, talking with Mary today, she said, you know. They could get together with the budget committee as well, I said, you're right. So I'll throw that out there, for the October dates. But I pulled, all of the open dates for November, and then I gave you open dates, for December as well. So that you could take a look at those and see what might work.
So the one possibility is that we could meet along with the budget committee for the
Yes.
initial
Review.
review with
Yes.
the department heads.
Yeah,
So if we did that, with the budget committee, we'd have a fuller picture, because we'd have budget committee members talking about stuff.
you are correct,
Plus, it doesn't take time up in November.
correct.
Yay. I'm liking that, I said.
Does that take away autonomy from the budget committee if the select board meets at the same time? Because normally the budget committee does the first review with the department heads and then makes changes, they make changes or whatever. And then we get another review. Does that,
I think several years ago. That it used to be the budget committee and the select board together initially. That's what I was told. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
that
it makes sense on a certain, on a certain level. It makes sense. I'm just
Dan,
wondering, I think
Dan,
in my experience, it's been the budget committee with the department heads first. And then the select board, but I can see why it would make sense to do them together.
Well, I mean, what we used to do is we'd have weekends where the department heads came in and presented their budget to all
Right.
of us together. But
Yeah,
They already usually worked on it either with the budget committee or amongst their own department before they brought it to us. I mean, as long as I've been here, I haven't gone to any workshops. with-
You haven't gone
with-
until
with
it
the
comes,
budget committee
yeah.
until it's that. Diving deep into the budget.
Mhm.
right,
I
because the
don't know, do
budget,
you remember ever doing?
No, the initial one was usually with the budget committee, and then we would do after that budget committee, we just select what to do.
is the one with the budget committee and the department heads is kind of a preliminary,
Yeah,
that's what you're calling
yeah,
a work session.
it's really just a work session for them to. Go through it. I've never, I don't ever remember going to one of those work sessions. I wouldn't want to have the select board standing over me when I'm trying to set my budget, feeling like they're micromanaging every item we're trying to put forward, I'd rather. You know, I think it's a little
Let
much.
the budget committee have the first one, then.
Right,
So yeah, usually it's the budget committee kind of goes through and goes over it and then we'll cut, we'll make suggestions for the department heads to make any cuts if need be, and then bring it back to the board and budget committee at the time, or if the department heads feel that they are still in need of it, then it comes to, back to you guys, and then it's up to you guys to say yay or nay with our recommendations.
that's the way I always remember it.
Yeah, but that's what it's been since I've only, this is just
Yeah, I was
4
gonna
years.
say. So what's everyone's pleasure?
I don't have my phone in front of me because I left my phone at the house, so.
I'm sorry, what?
I left my phone right at the house because I ran,
Oh,
got out of work, so I screamed and pulled in.
It's a good thing to do sometimes. I've never done it.
To check
I
the
don't-
calendar.
okay, November 11. November 11, oh, I'm sorry, you're doing the 12th, then, huh? The 12th, 13th, I'm open at the moment.
18th, it's the 12th, the 18th.
Oh, the 12th, sorry. I'm open there.
Yeah, I don't have anything written down here on any of the dates other than December 2nd.
I can't do 6 p.m. on Tuesdays because. Then that meeting, I technically can be at 5 o'clock on these meeting nights, but I can't be unless these coincide with the board meeting. Because my usual Tuesday hours are 8 to 6. So when I have a board meeting, I have to go in early.
The 26th, November 26th is the day before Thanksgiving,
It is.
or the Tuesday
Tuesday.
before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if people will be traveling. I will be around. I don't leave till Wednesday. I just make mention of that if somebody's gonna be around.
It's like Monday, December 23rd, it's awful close to Christmas though.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not available on Monday, the 25th.
Monday the 20th. Oh, like, no, the second's not. Okay. So, the dates look, the first clump of dates look fine for me. Second. 9th. And 16. The 30th may or may not be good for me. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I would not want to do the 23rd.
No. I
Do you
mean,
wanna check and send me a list of what works
Okay.
and what doesn't?
Sure.
I'll compile that and send it out to all of you. That
Okay.
way Mel can check her calendar when she
Yeah.
gets home.
Sure.
So
So just even mark this up and get it back to you.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
you already did.
Just gonna write that down and I'll keep the dates, I've got the dates. But there's only one that conflicts with anything that I, on my calendar.
Okay.
We also,
I mean, they look good right now, but that doesn't, you know. Are you wanting us to hold all of these open?
Until we set the dates, we
So,
know
For
from
like
all
a couple of weeks, but then we'll know, right?
Oh, my goodness, yes, I should.
Okay,
thank you.
all right. That's why I'm like,
Yes, yes,
okay.
pretty quickly, I would think.
yeah, the one day I've been really with Kate.
Oh, well.
This is a lot,
It is a lot.
and one day we have a plan.
See, my problem is, once you get past 6 o'clock at night, you start talking budgets. You don't do anything good after 6
No.
o'clock at night,
I'd lots rather do it
especially when you get towards 9.
a couple of bites and be done and, you know.
And that's when we do the Sunday thing.
Okay, so. Okay. We're all set. Yes, we need to move into executive
We get the
session.
guys that jacked up, done smile this little house over here, that come over and back there.
It is almost impossible to get somebody to come and give an estimate, real estimate. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's take a couple minute break and then we'll
Okay.
go into executive session. Laura, you have something quick for us on executive session? I move that we exit our regular session at, 8:47.
Second,
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, and I move we enter into executive session under 1 MRSA subsection 4056A personnel matter.
Second,
And that is at 8:48. All in favor, Melanie? Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So, Lorna has
Hold on,
one.
Hold on.
Okay, I move that we exit, the select board meeting at 10:11,
Second.
and no action was taken during our executive session.
All in favor.
All in favor? I keep forgetting that.
Yes.
Peter, Dan,
Yes.
Yeah.
Melanie, okay. All right. I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All right.
Great. So we're gonna now stop the recording.
Okay, so this is stuff that's in here.